Hi, and for the three people who might actually see this since I've been gone for almost 2 months, welcome back. I'm gonna go ahead and skip the intro that I usually do, just because things are already pretty out of sync anyways. That said, if you're new here and you just want speed paints and art topics, I'm gonna stick a little card with my art discussions playlist up in the corner of the video. This one's going to be a little bit messy, but I am hoping to get back to regularly scheduled programming after this, because honestly, I need the structure. And I am going to just put here up at the top that this one's got a bit of a whiny bitch alert. I don't really have the brain power yet to make something productive of this, but I do know that I owe the people who tune in here an update on why I just outright disappeared for a few months and where I'm at with things now. So, where the heck have I been? I'd originally planned on skipping one video while I got things set up with an amazing friend who offered to take care of my editing for me. Hi, Holmes. Thanks again. And while that's still happening, things went a little sideways. Firstly, pretty much immediately following a busy set of weeks in June with a lot of events between family and Pride happening, I was hit with one of the worst chronic pain flare-ups that I've ever experienced. I don't really love talking about this stuff. It's the internalized ableism, honestly. But I did go into a little bit more detail in a text post that is up on my Patreon and Ko-Fi. I believe I have them set to public. But I spent almost a week at an 8 or 9 on that accurate pain scale thing. And it was just all I could do to sit up, never mind sleep, make food, get work done, or any of that. It was truly terrible and mind-numbing. And I don't know if this is really common for people with chronic pain or chronic illnesses that can kind of have a similar effect, but I tend to get really depressed during or after an episode. And I'm making myself say this because honestly, the thing that's worse than the depression is the way that I feel like I have to invalidate my own mental health struggles, because internalized ableism is a bitch. And I think this is something that I see in a lot of artists especially, but also just people who have disabilities or chronic pain or illness in general. And I feel like making myself talk about it in a way that I've seen other people who have similar issues talk about this helps make an environment where maybe the next person won't feel as crappy as I do. We'll see if that holds true, but if I don't acknowledge that that's what it was too, I'm just gonna keep thinking that I was being lazy. I'm really good at convincing myself that my pain was not actually as bad as it was. So kind of acknowledging it publicly and admitting that no, I was in a lot of pain and I couldn't think straight because of it kind of forces me to remind myself no, this is a real thing. You're not just a lazy idiot. And by the time that I started pulling out of that, we'd also entered a pretty unprecedented heat wave, both where I live and actually where my friend Holmes lives. And it's here, it's been the kind of oppressive, constant heat that stays well after the sun's gone down, and it's just impossible to think especially when you don't actually have any kind of air conditioning, which is the case for me. And for me, progress halted, and I spent a lot of time just trying to stay hydrated and find the least intensive way to get in a crumb of serotonin or get a little bit of work done. And meanwhile, in Canada, where my editor lives, the whole country's been on fire. I'm gonna try and find some, like, I don't know if there's donation links for this sort of stuff. I assume there is. I'm gonna try and find them and put them in the description, because the northeastern coast of Canada is now flooding, following being on fire, and everything is just, nature's going crazy. And take global warming seriously, kids. I don't have the brain power to be truly intellectual about this in any way. So I'm just going to leave it at that, and I will try and find some links to put in the description if anyone wants to learn more or find a way to help out with that situation. But just to get kind of back on track with, you know, the point here, because obviously as a YouTuber, everything is about me all the time. It finally started to get a little more in a reasonable temperature range here. And then I got sick. It's honestly a little bit embarrassing that it took me a good solid 3 days to really realize that maybe it wasn't just, oh, I'm having another pain episode, but it's headaches now, but a fever, a pretty significant one. And I am recording this actually, like, still in the recovery upswing from that. The fever's broken and everything, but I'm definitely not at 100% yet. And that is a big portion of why this is such a disaster. I actually wrote the bullet points for this while I was still pretty sick. But I like and honestly need the structure of having something where I can talk about things and discuss topics that I'm passionate about in a kind of structured and regular way. And I need some element of scheduling. So I really, really want to get this channel back on track. I really want to make this part of a sustainable routine for myself. As much as I want to make this channel a resource that others can use, that is kind of a better sort of halfway point for newer artists compared to, like, the more professional end. Because I feel like when you hear a professional talk, I'm going to bring this up in another thing at another point, but I feel like when you hear a professional talk about something, in a lot of cases, they've been a professional for so long that they forget things that it's like to be a beginner, or they were a beginner so long ago that they don't the experience is different now. So I really want to be more of like an intermediate resource, I guess you could say. As well as a place to start conversations, because, you know, I love to talk about my media. I have a good dozen or so half-finished scripts, a good half dozen more concepts written down that I want to tackle, and I'm planning on going through those the next week or so while I'm not busy catching up on my already pretty intense backlog of art that I need to get done, because I was not doing much drawing when I was sick or in pain. So things might still be a little bit rocky. I'm hoping that if I can just haul ass, things can chill out again. But I'm honestly really worried about courting burnout right now because I've kind of been on that edge for a little while, and this just really pushed me over it. And I am staring into the abyss. So I don't want to hold myself too accountable to getting fully back on schedule yet. But yeah, I'm sorry this video wasn't really anything super exciting. I do promise that even if it's not as consistent as I would normally like, I am going to be back with more interesting art talks soon. I want to get back to that every other week schedule that I had going before, but just right now I might not be able to hit that goal every time. With that said, maybe don't share this video, but it would mean a lot if folks would share around my past and future videos, or drop a comment, or, you know, the algorithm stuff that YouTubers are contractually obligated to ask you to do. And speaking of contractually obligated, as ever, this video is sponsored by my Ko-Fi and Patreon supporters. Without you guys, I would literally not be doing this right now. If you want to be a little nice or just have more money than you know what to do with, you can always throw a tip my way on Ko-Fi, pledge a bit of monthly support in exchange for some nice goodies there or on Patreon, or buy any of the templates or pre-designed outfits for your OCs from my shop. I am so grateful to everyone for the support and patience that you've shown me so far, and I'm really looking forward to getting back to making work that you'll hopefully enjoy. Until next time, I hope you have a great day and a great week. And I just want to offer a super special thank you to my $5 and up subscribers. You can join to get your name listed here at the end of videos. So a special thank you to Starlight Supernova, Arisark, Holmes, Chamomilian, Spirit of Stars, Ki Hiromaru, Miles Mentis, Hera, Lane, Lazy Admiral, Jordan Kirian, Kakrian, Leo, and HV Cax. And if you listened all the way to the end here, if you want to suggest like a simple tune in the comments for me to read these off to, so it's a little less boring than just a list, go ahead and drop your suggestions and I will do my best, and you can hear some really terrible singing from me in future videos. Does that sound like a fun deal? Let's find out. All right. Thank you again for listening all the way to the end, and I hope you have a fantastic week.